They said he would never rise again, that his father's failure had sealed his destiny forever. But life had other plans. Because sometimes the fire meant to destroy you becomes the fire that refines you. This is the story of Philip Daramola, the boy who built an empire from ashes. Years ago, the Daramola name echoed through every corner of Lagos. Chief Daramola was called the Iron King, a man whose steel manufacturing company supplied half the nation. He was powerful, feared, respected, until greed and betrayal came knocking. One trusted friend, Chief Olayinka, embezzled millions from the company's funds. And when the truth came out, the empire crumbled faster than anyone could imagine. Within months, the family lost everything: the mansion, the cars, even their dignity. And one night, Chief Daramola ended his life. He left behind a letter stained with tears. "Son, never trust anyone. The world is cruel, but greatness is born from pain. Rise, even if it's from my ashes." Those words would haunt Philip for years. After his father's death, Philip's world fell apart. At 17, he was jobless, homeless, and hopeless. He tried everything. He applied for jobs at over 20 companies. He begged family friends for help. But everywhere he went, the same whispers followed. "Isn't that the Iron King's son? Maybe he'll destroy our business too." Doors slammed, opportunities vanished, even his relatives avoided him. Then one day, out of desperation, he went to the man who ruined everything, Chief Olayinka. He knelt in front of him and said, "Sir, I don't want revenge. I just need a chance to work, to learn." He leaned back, smiled cruelly, and said, "Your father was weak, boy, and you'll end up just like him, broke and forgotten." That moment broke something in Philip, but it also awakened something greater. He stood up, looked the man in the eyes, and said softly, "No, sir. I'll rise. You'll remember my name." And then he walked away, with nothing but anger, tears, and determination. Philip started working as a bus conductor in Lagos. He shouted destinations by day and studied by night. Every spare minute he had, he spent in a cyber cafe, reading business books and watching tutorials. He had no laptop, no mentor, just hunger for change. One night, while searching through his late father's old belongings, he found something extraordinary: a dusty notebook filled with blueprints, drawings of a machine his father once dreamed of creating. A solar-powered food dryer, simple, efficient, way ahead of its time. Philip's heart raced. He whispered, "Papa, maybe this is where I start." He spent months learning, sketching, and scavenging scraps. He built his prototype in an abandoned workshop using broken fans, solar panels, and wires he collected from dump sites. People laughed. They said, "Look at the mad Daramola boy playing with trash." Even his mother lost faith. But there was one person who didn't: Amaka, his childhood friend and computer engineering student. She brought him tools, helped with technical drawings, and even pawned her phone once to buy parts. Together, they dreamed, worked, and believed. One rainy evening, as lightning flashed across the sky, the machine finally whirred to life. A faint hum, then heat, then the scent of drying fruit filled the air. It worked. Philip fell to his knees, shouting and laughing, his hands trembling as he looked at the spinning fan. "It worked, Amarka! It actually worked!" It was small, crude, and ugly, but it was real. That night he looked up to the heavens and said, "Father, I've built from your ashes." Weeks later, Philip heard about a youth innovation challenge in Lagos. Grand prize, $10,000, and business mentorship. He had no money for transport or a proper suit, but Amaka sold her wristwatch to buy him one. It was old-fashioned, but it was enough. When Philip entered the hall, everyone stared. His shoes were worn out, his shirt slightly faded. One judge whispered, "Who let this bus conductor in here?" But when it was time to demonstrate his machine, the entire hall fell silent. The solar dryer performed perfectly. Efficient, affordable, genius. The audience rose to their feet in applause. Philip had done it. He won first place and a $10,000 grant. For the first time, he felt what his father never got to feel again: redemption. But Philip had no idea that success comes with shadows. Because in the world of business, every rise attracts enemies. And sometimes the ghosts of your past come knocking again. That night, as Philip celebrated his victory, a man watched him from afar. Cold eyes, familiar face. Chief Olayinka. He smiled slowly and muttered, "Let's see how far you can go, boy." The fire that tested him. After winning the Youth Innovation Challenge, Philip Daramola became the name everyone was suddenly talking about. Articles called him the comeback son. Interviews praised his courage and vision. Even people who once mocked him now wanted to shake his hand. He used the prize money wisely, registering his company as Ash Rise Industries, a name born from pain, a symbol of hope. With Amaka by his side, he started small, building solar dryers for rural farmers. And for the first time, local women could preserve food without losing crops to spoilage. Farmers smiled. Villages prospered. Ash Rise became a movement. But success is never without enemies. One afternoon, Philip received a call. It was from Oasis Ventures, a multinational corporation offering to invest millions into Ash Rise. They promised expansion, better machinery, international partnerships. It sounded like everything he'd prayed for. But something felt off. Still, Philip signed the contract, trusting that big opportunity sometimes looks risky. 3 months later, disaster struck. The partnership turned out to be a trap. The investors were secretly linked to Chief Olayinka, the same man who destroyed his father. They took control of Ash Rise's patents, froze his accounts, and accused him of breach of contract. In one night, the company he built was taken from him. He was back to nothing. The media turned on him, calling him another Daramola failure. Old wounds reopened, and once again, Philip found himself standing before the same ashes his father had once faced. Philip stopped eating. He locked himself in his workshop for days. The pain was unbearable. Amaka tried to reach him. "Philip, you're not your father. You can still fight this." But he didn't answer. Until one morning, he stumbled upon something strange: his father's old letter, the one that ended with "Rise from my ashes." Only this time, he noticed something he'd missed before. A small sketch at the corner, a signature symbol identical to the one used in the stolen patent. That meant one thing. His father had originally drawn the design long before Olayinka's betrayal. If Philip could prove that the concept belonged to his late father,
then legally the technology was his family's legacy, not Olyanka's property.
Philip gathered every document, every sketch, every photo of his father's prototype. He filed a lawsuit. But Olyanka had power, money, and influence. No one wanted to represent a fallen innovator. Until a young lawyer named Tosin Adewale stepped in. "I believe in your story," Tosin said, "and I don't lose." Together they built their case. They fought sleepless nights in courtrooms. Olyanka's lawyers mocked them, saying they were chasing ghosts. But the truth was on Philip's side. One day, while reviewing old archives, Tosin discovered an overlooked document, a letter of patent filed in Chief Daramola's name 20 years earlier. It was the smoking gun. The courtroom went silent as Tosin presented it. The judge read the document carefully and declared, "The invention and all related intellectual property rightfully belong to the Daramola family." Philip won. But that victory was only the beginning. With his rights restored, Philip relaunched Ashrise Industries, bigger, stronger, smarter. He upgraded his father's designs, added new solar innovations, and expanded across Africa. Foreign investors lined up. New factories opened in Ghana, Kenya, and Rwanda. Within 3 years, Ashrise became one of the continent's top renewable energy firms. The same boy they called hopeless was now signing billion-naira contracts. And then, one unexpected email arrived. Subject line: Partnership Proposal, Olayinka Holdings. Yes, the same Olyanka who once laughed at him was now on the verge of bankruptcy, his empire collapsing. Philip smiled. He accepted the meeting. When Olyanka walked into the Ashrise headquarters, he froze. The giant gold letters on the wall read, "Ashrise Industries, Rebuilding Africa." The young man sitting behind the desk looked different. Sharp suit, calm eyes, silent power. Olyanka stuttered. "Philip, my boy, it's good to see you again." Philip leaned forward and said quietly, "It's Mr. Daramola now." Olyanka tried to pitch his deal, begging for a merger that would save his dying company. Philip listened, nodded slowly, then replied, "I'll buy your company, but not as a partner, as your new boss." The silence in the room was thick. Even Olyanka's assistant gasped. "Sir," Philip continued, "you once told me I'd be broke and forgotten. Now you'll work under my name." Olyanka lowered his head in shame. And just like that, history reversed itself. Months later, Philip returned to his father's old grave. The air was quiet. He knelt and placed a bouquet of white lilies on the tombstone. "Papa," he whispered, "the world tried to bury us, but they didn't know. We were seeds." He looked up at the sky as a soft wind blew. It was as if his father was smiling down. Then he turned and walked back to his car, his driver waiting beside the logo of Ashrise Industries glowing on the side. From a bus conductor to the founder of a billion-dollar renewable energy empire, from rejection to recognition, Philip Daramola's story is proof that failure is not the end. It's the beginning of reinvention. Because greatness is not about avoiding pain. It's about using pain to build power. And in the end, those who laughed at your fall will one day clap at your rise.